right, shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Achar we want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And we want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yat Zakba here with the Nebraska camp, the brothers.
You call them up.
Kawashab.
Tazwan.
Khan. And in this lesson, we want to get into this article from capitalbnews.org, which is going into, well, let's just read the title real fast. Which says Atlanta's Cop City makes a black neighborhood a testing lab for AI policing. And this article is getting into um going into Atlanta, which is the most surveilled city in the US, and how Esau has been setting up tons and tons of these flock cameras and AI, which are AI enabled cameras. And what it's doing is that it's giving Esau um, a higher levels of surveillance, higher levels of control, and we understand that this is infrastructure that is ultimately, this is a step toward the MOTB, at the end of the day. Um, as brothers have spoken in the past, we talk about China and the high level of surveillance that's over there, where everything is surveilled. You got cameras everywhere, people's internet, what they do on the internet is surveilled. Well, what they doing, at all times, for the most part, is surveilled. And we talked about how that's going to come here to the US. Well, Atlanta is that first city where you see that major comparison where it's getting to the levels of China's surveillance, and we're going to get into it in this lesson. Did brothers have anything, any precepts before we got started?
Done. I got Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 13. It says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High."
That's right. That's what Esau's goal is. He wants to be like the Most High, and we see the hubris that he's talking with in that precept. I'm gonna exalt my throne up to the stars of the Most High. I'm gonna be on the same level as the Most High. I'm gonna amass all this knowledge, all this technology, and look the Most High in his eyes and be equal with him. And that's impossible. And that shows Esau's wicked nature, his wicked mindset. But that's what he's trying to accomplish with this technology, because we understand that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is omnipresent, being at all places at one time. The Lord always knows what's going on. He knows down to what we're thinking at all times. We can't hide from him. That's why it says the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, because there's nothing that escapes the Lord's sight. And so through this technology, Esau is trying to mimic that, to where that's why he has all these cameras set up, you know, um, but it's going to get even worse than the cameras, because you can go somewhere that's off of the camera's view. You can go somewhere that's off the grid, you know. That's why Esau wants to come with that MOTB, to where with that surveillance inside of you, then boom, he knows what you're doing at all times, But I digress.
Yeah. Actually, I got a precept for that.
Babusha.
On Second Ezra 15 and 17, it says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid."
Khan. Khan. This is, going into when martial law starts to ramp up, when things get more hectic out out in the streets, and America gets to a point where all hell has broken loose. There's going to be lockdowns, and a part of those lockdowns is going to be what? Surveillance. There's going to be a lot of surveillance during that time. That's what's going. Not only are you going to have the troops that are blocking off highways and interstates, that are patrolling the streets, but these cameras are going to be watching people as well, watching the moves that they're making, and keeping them in certain bounds and things of the sort.
let you get into it. Just make a quick point on it. What you just said is, with this technology, like it's in connection to flock in a way, is this technology, these computers, they're more efficient than a human being. Which is why you see like you seeing a lot of layoffs and things like that. Like recently with Amazon, kind of looking into that, they pretty much that they just want to update this digital system because once again, uh, these the AI system doesn't need a break. Does you don't need to pay insurance for it. All right, as far as it getting hurt on the job, all these different things is going to play a role. So this flock is an external source of that, but it's still connected in a way to where this technology is more efficient than a human being. That's the point that I'm trying to get across. But that's pretty much it, because that's the times that we're rolling into, But yeah, you got it, brother. That's all I want to say.
Gone. And like you said, this technology is more efficient than a human being, and Esau has control over it. So he thinks he's superior. He thinks he's on another level than everybody else. But little does he know it is well, I can't say little does he know, but Yahweh Bashim Shai is superior than everything that's on this earth, including this technology that he has given Esau the ability to have control over. So that's why, even when you read on in that Isaiah 14, where it talks about how he wants to make himself equal with the Most High, that says that though you trying to bring yourself so high, the Lord gonna bring you down to the sides of the pit. Esau's gonna be humbled. So but yeah, we can go ahead and get into the article though. Come on, Retajuan, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and get into it.
The title is Atlanta's Cop City makes black neighborhood a testing lab for AI policing. And underneath that, it says, in America's most surveilled city, a community loses forest land and gains a network of AI-enabled cameras.
Yeah, because it gets into it later on in the article, but since it mentioned it there, like there's a community in Atlanta that had like a lot of forest land and woodland that Jake would like to walk through and spend their time in. And Esau chopped the whole forest down to set up, the infrastructure for the cameras to set up a database. You know, this is the man we dealing with. This goes to show how far Esau is willing to go to accomplish his goals. It doesn't matter how he affects people, how he affects the earth, the environment. Look at what's going on with these databases for AI to where, all the water that they're using up, they're polluting water, you know. They're bothering people while they're trying to sleep, upping people's bills, you know.
Mhm.
We can go ahead though.
Con, I want to say, if I may, a quick point. Hey, this is why the Lord got to destroy this man. All right, because like the scripture says, I got a precept, going into how this man's destroying the world, in the name of capitalism. This is Isaiah 14:5. It says, Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. The whole earth is at rest and is
Hmm.
quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us.
And it's beautiful. So the staff of the wicked is going to be broken, and it says when it's broken, the earth is going to rejoice. Why? Because this man that's been polluting the world, that's been destroying the world, is going to be no more. So things are going to be able to live how it's properly supposed to. You know, that's why I say there in verse 8, the fir trees rejoice at the cedars of Lebanon. Because what? No feller. is come up against him. What that feller is, let's get that word feller. Bakusha.
Okay. Isaiah 14:8. Picking up right now, so I get brother. When you get the word feller, goes into Strong's H 3772, which is karath, which is to cut off, cut off, cut down, cut
Mhm.
off body part, cut out, eliminate, kill, cut a covenant.
So basically, it's talking about to cut something down. So that feller will be talking about, one who cuts down trees, and that's why I said that the trees is gonna rejoice when Esau is brought down, because there ain't gonna be nobody no more to be deforesting, you know. And what happens when Esau deforests like that? He messes up the oxygen levels. He messes up a bunch of habitats for animals, you know, and he messes up order and harmony.
Right. And that's a beautiful point, brother. Because like I said, to cut a covenant, which the cut like you made the point that the covenant for the earth was to produce life. And Esau has, through his experiments and through his evil vain thoughts, and change, like the Isaiah 24 always comes to mind. You know how he changed the ordinances and he broke the covenant that that the Lord had with the earth. You
Huh.
know, like you change the whole course of how life really should be. You got chemtrails, you got GMO foods, you got, like you said, the deforesting. You got all these different things that you're doing to disrupt the harmony of how Earth really should be um, correlated in a sense. So you
Huh.
that covenant. This is why. Yeah, I just wanted to say that because that was interesting. I never looked into this word feller. Honestly, and it says when it says to cut a covenant, it makes a lot more sense because that's what Esau did. You said, "Fuck what the Lord got going, man. This is my shit."
Mhm.
That's what Esau said. But you got it out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what Esau trying to do with humanity as a whole, trying to set up this image, and have everybody worship it. He's saying everything that the Lord got set up, forget that. Follow after what I'm setting up. And that's why the system has to be destroyed. That's why this man has to be taken down out of power because he is trying to completely replace Yahweh Bashem Hawashai in the earth. We can read on in this article.
Kind of says when he drives through his neighborhood now, Brian Page passes rows of police cars and AI powered cameras that track nearly every movement. For
Mhm.
most of his for most of his life, Page, who goes by Scram Scra- Scapegoat Jones, felt safest in the community that Atlanta officials have since flooded with officers and surveillance technology in the name of public safety. He he brought a six he brought a house 6 minutes he bought a house 6 minutes away from where he grew up in DeKalb County. Yeah, is raising his daughter in the same majority black neighborhood and cherished the forest trail where his family used to go and jog and ride bikes.
So, like it says this surveillance technology is flooding in, but it's in the name of public safety. And that's what Esau does. He comes with the message of peace and safety. He comes with the message of prosperity. This is a good thing, hiding the true reason on why he's actually coming with this technology. You know, Here, let me plug my
I got a precept just hang on, brother. Let me grab for you.
account.
This is the book of Sirach chapter 12 And let's see, Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10 says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching." Well, this is not it. This is not it. This is I'll finish it for the sake of the precept, but it's not it. It says, "Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether, so like that his rust have not been altogether wiped away."
Con, con. But that's a good one too, though, because Esau. Look at how this country. Look at what this country was built upon. Esau hates Jake. Esau never had Jake best interest in mind. You
Yeah.
know, since the beginning of America, and you telling me now, he's bringing in all these cameras, all this surveillance, and he's like, oh, it's to help y'all. It's because I care about y'all safety. It's because I want to make sure that crime ain't on the rise. No, Esau is doing this to track Jake, and it's not just about Jake. It's about everybody. It's going to be Esau own people once this is a nationwide thing. Really once it's a worldwide thing, it's going to be everybody. But since we talking about Atlanta here, we talking about a Jake uh community. That precept does apply. Because this ain't about helping Jake out.
Mhm. Gone. Hey, while you were saying that, I did look up how many treaties did the Europeans break with the Native Americans. It says the United States government signed over 370 ratified treaties and over 500 total agreements with the Native American tribes between 1778 and 1871. And by most historical accounts, nearly all of them were broken, violated, or ignored by the U.S. government.
That's crazy. He's a devil. That word devil means deceiver. That's why we call Esau a devil. He fits the description. You know, look at how he
Gone.
treated our people. Look at how he treated our people when he so-called abolished slavery, just to
Mhm.
bring in all these forms of a systematic slavery that we're still under to this day. You
Mhm.
know, but Jake's swear up and down Abraham Lincoln is this great is this great Edomite. This man, nah, bro. This dude what was it wasn't for y'all. You know, but yeah, we can oh, it's like you found that precept you called
Uh,
that you want.
it's the same chapter. Just I read up a little higher. It's verse 16 that I was looking for. It says, "An enemy speaketh." Sirach 12 verse 16. "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit.
Hmm.
He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." And if I may expound on it, brother, because it sounds like a convenient thing. It sounds like we're going into like the aspect of Esau being a godhead with this technology, right? It sounds good. It sounds great. It sounds like it's safer. It sounds like it's more convenient for you and for the safety of your family. But at the end of the day, it's really um, imprisoning society.
Hmm.
Not only Jake especially because Esau wants to get that birthright back. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely gonna his target is Jake, but this is with all society. This is with his own people. You
Come,
know, we about to have all you motherfuckers under control because you're part of society. So we got to make it look good. So but the point is, he's speaking sweetly to make it sound good, to make it appealing. It's like, hey, what was that Black Mirror episode that we were recently talking about?
oh
Sounds good,
yeah, yeah.
sounds good, sounds appealing. It's convenient. It's all the perks right there, but you don't know what comes with it once
It's a
you make that covenant.
it's a trap.
It's a trap. But yeah, that's it. That's all. That was it to that, brother. Because yeah, that's it. But yeah,
Con,
that's like it.
and then we could read this these next little small paragraphs about Rashad.
Says now a massive police training complex and an expanding web of surveillance rises in the place, and it makes him feel watched, not protected. The network said, well, the network, he said, certainly feels like an invasion of privacy.
Right. So Esau coming in, he talking about us in the name of public safety. This is to help y'all community, but then the community feels watched. The community can tell the type of time Esau's on. Cameras every single and on every single corner. You know, that's so Esau can monitor y'all, not protect y'all. And Jake privy to it. You know, at least this Jake is.
Uh, the 41-year-old's unease about the Atlantic Public Safety Training Center, more commonly known as Cop City, is at the center of a much larger experiment. Salaki. Yeah, built atop 85 acres of built atop built atop 85 acres of one of Atlanta's last urban forests. The training center is now wired into what has become the most expensive surveillance network of any city in the US. Part of
Mm.
more than 60,000 public and private cameras linked to law enforcement across the metro area.
John, and you can expect that this is going to boom um in more places than just Atlanta. This is about to be something that's nationwide, and that's why we've seen a lot of money being pumped into AI infrastructure, you know, of these past years. I believe in the beginning of 2025, if I'm not mistaken, you had the Stargate project, which is where billions of dollars was going to be pumped into AI infrastructure, you know, and they said that that money was going to be used over the course of time. So, you know, as you know, we saying that Atlanta is, you know, just 60,000 public and private cameras, and these ain't just regular cameras either. You got regular cameras, but as we about to go on, it's these flock cameras as well, which are AI powered cameras. These cameras have the capability to where, like I said to one of the brothers, it's like how you can type in something on ChatGPT or on Grok and type in something real specific and it brings up results. Well, with these cameras, these AI powered cameras are making it to where you don't have to go to a certain time to find what you're looking for on the camera. You don't have to, it's not as strict as camera systems as we know it. All you have to do is type in, let's use the flock cameras, for example, that's used for traffic. All you have to do is type in gray truck with dent on the right side, on the passenger side of the truck, and it's going to go to all times that that specific description of a truck passed by the camera. You know, this is the type of power that that this technology is about to have. You know, and that's you know, again, this isn't just going to be in Atlanta. We about to see this all across the U.S.
Yeah, uh, just looking up something based off of that. 'Cause I remember, but no, you got it. You got it out.
Unless brothers had anything, we can go ahead and read on.
John, I was gonna say like these AIs, another thing I was, researching earlier is they only learn whatever information you feed them, right? So if Atlanta, Georgia is one of the most heavily, has the most cameras or one of those areas with a lot of cameras, uh you're basically training up that AI to be like biased against Jake because this
That's
is
a good
mostly
point.
Jake being trained up. So it's not gonna know what a criminal Edomite looks like. It's gonna know what a Jake criminal looks like. And then they saying, if I'm not mistaken, that this same model that's being trained here is gonna be exported to other states. So, that could cause a big problem there as well.
Con, con.
Yeah.
All right, going back into that article, it says for black residents like Page, whose neighborhood deals with flooding, sewage problems, and extreme heat, the complex, the complex replaced a rare cooling green space with shooting ranges, mock city blocks, and round the clock surveillance hub, deepening climate and health risk for the nearby residents. At the same time, opponents warn that right wiring the site into Atlanta's vast camera and license plate network should will supercharge will supercharge a pattern of the digital tracking in black neighborhoods.
Public shop. I can make a point on that. Uh, can you read that latter part of that again? You just Bible shop read that because cause like we had a dialogue about this recently. Like Jake is the focal point. And um is the drive crime is the driving factor of why these slot cameras are so important. As we're reading through this, that's what I'm picking up from it. And it's not, but nowadays, crime is not only in Jake neighborhoods. It's primarily what's the word
Uh,
uh I want to say superstition, not superstition.
like allegedly, almost.
There's a specific word,
Stereotype.
stereotype
Mm,
to
mm.
be in like Jake based neighborhoods. But now when you look around, it's not only Jake that's committing crimes. It's not only Jake that's committing car thefts and things that Esau is doing that shit. These other nations are doing it too.
Yeah, most definitely.
So not taking away from anything brothers have said prior to the statement that I'm making. It's just that is the basis. So now we can expect. Now it's a reason for Esau to expand it even to whatever neighborhood he fucking wants to. Because
Yeah,
you got a lot of these Edomites. They own drugs. They ain't got any right state of mind. They just doing shit, stealing cars, robbing people, whatever. So that it makes it more logical to have these cameras, though they're set for the base of car, not like for the tracking vehicles and license plates and things of that nature. We can track what the fuck we want to track, but this is the basis. Then this is where we got the basis from, based off of Jake. But you can you read that again, Bob Gushah, Tazwan? Just a letter in.
Gotcha. It says at the same time, opponents warn that the wiring site in Atlanta's vast camera and license plate network will supercharge a pattern of digital tracking in black neighborhoods.
Right, it says it will supercharge a pattern of digital tracking in black neighborhoods. So as the brother's been mentioning, and I just want to compliment is that is where the basis is with Jake, you know, because this is where that the stereotype comes from, but everybody's committing crimes. And why? Because times are getting harder. The squeeze is not only coming down upon Jake to where they feel like they have to commit crimes and do things to make it by. These other nations are doing it too now because everybody's feeling the squeeze. Everybody's feeling that financial pressure. Everybody's feeling the um the effect of what is that the standard of living.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know,
Yep.
so everybody's affected. Everybody's I got to get it how I live type of mindset. You know, but yeah,
Because
but you got it out.
a couple points I want to make. One, statistically, they say that I'm gonna say Edomites. They say whites, but it says statistically Edomites commit more violent crimes in the U.S. than Jake do.
Hmm.
One, and that stereotype, like Jake, even though the statistics show that Esau is committing more violent crimes, Jake's arrests are higher, which is where a big part of that stereotype comes from. It's like y'all are getting arrested more, y'all are in prison more, but people ignore the nuances that come with Jake being arrested more, even though they're committing less other crimes. Well, it's situations like this. Esau is coming into a Jake neighborhood and setting up all this surveillance the same way that police are more heavily populated in Jake spots than they are in Esau spots, or it's easier for Esau to get away with certain crimes than it is for Jake. That's why the scriptures say they are not in trouble as other men, you know. Can we grab that in Psalms where it talks about they sit in the lurking places?
Yep, I got you. Yep, this is like a Psalms, the 10th chapter. Yeah, this is Psalms chapter 10 and verse 8.
Hmm.
He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent.
Yeah,
His eyes are privily set against the poor.
yeah, and who that's talking about? That's talking about well, it's saying that Esau, more specifically when you get into these police, they sit in the lurking places of the villages. Their eye is set against the poor. And that's talking about how, you'll have police just prowling the neighborhood, just looking for somebody to stop, looking for somebody to mess with, just post it up. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, that happens in
NLT for you, Bible shot, brother. Bible
Khan
shot.
Babu Shah, Babu Shah.
The NLT says in the same verse, Psalms 10 and verse 8, it says, they lurk in ambush in the villages,
Hmm.
waiting to murder innocent people. They're
Mm.
always searching for helpless victims.
Damn, yeah, that's right. Just messing with Jake, and that's why you have situations where Jake get gunned down and they wasn't even doing nothing, because Esau looking for somebody to mess with. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to be balanced, and Jake be wilding, Jake be getting into BS, and also being balanced and understanding that the police do be, and they be around Edomites, but not nearly as much as they be around Jake. That's Esau. I mean, yeah, these cops they set up in the hood. You know, they're more heavily populated in those impoverished places, and who be in them impoverished places the most? Jake. Because of a multitude of reasons. But yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
Brothers want to make a point with that.
no, yeah, that's it. I mean, on my end.
Just like what you say, bro.
No, I ain't saying. I was
Oh,
saying that was good. Brothers want to make a point. It's like,
okay. Now, like the brother said, it's about to get to a point to where everybody is feeling the squeeze of society. Everybody is about to be in a situation to where they're desperate, to where they're in need. And crime isn't crime. There's higher rates of crime where there's more poverty. There's higher rates of crime where the environment is in like a dire state. And that's the situation everybody about to be in, you know? So like the brother mentioned earlier, Esau can come with that. Hey, there's more crime rising. We need to bring in more of these cameras, more of this surveillance, and that's how that's one of them reasons how this is about to become a nationwide thing. No matter what race you is, you're gonna be underneath the surveillance. So I just want to make that point. But we can get back into the article.
Says, well, he says, I hope that the training center and service system doesn't change the vibe of the people in that area, Page said. But he has a feeling that it might, just knowing the history of this country and the history of profiling. I do have concerns and questions about this AI is being used, on how this AI is being used, he said. I don't trust them to have information or collect it. I can't understand the purpose of it.
Right, Jake Spidey senses is tingling. Like, man, what Esau doing? What he got going on with this, bro? You know, But hey, this is the purpose of it. We getting into it right now.
Uh, As Georgia-based surveillance companies market this model nationwide, and as the cities begin to revolt over its ties to immigration enforcement and protesting policies, The debate in Atlanta is becoming increasingly important.
So it said as Georgia-based surveillance companies market this model nationwide. So like we said, this is starting here, but it's gonna spread. We're seeing the beginnings of it, so to speak. And says other cities begin to revolt over its ties to immigration enforcement and protest policing. This debate in Atlanta is becoming increasingly important, right? Because we're seeing the beginning of something that's about to become major, to where Esau about to crack down. The policing on certain things is about to come, you know, that crackdown about to get even worse. That's why you had what um Trump sending the National Guard to LA when they was protesting, to other states when they was protesting, you know, and now with these cameras, that's about to become even more of a crackdown, to where they can just they about, like you said, protest policing when people are gathering together in large crowds, set them cameras up. Now Esau can just as soon as the protests come about, the camera pick it up. Esau can just pull up because they know where it's at because they got cameras everywhere. you know. And
Yeah.
eventually, this is going to be used to target the prophets. That's what this is all about. At the end of the day, they're going to target the prophets. They're going to have these cameras set up everywhere, to where this is where they set up. This is the corners they be on. This is the car that they get in and drive away in. This is the path they take. This is where they live. You know, this is where they meet up. That's what this is about.
Yeah, that's a damn beautiful point. So I was thinking it, but you said it through the spirit, man. Call out like, I shoot my shot for that. As far as like how, because Jake are on the street corners. But there was something else that I seen that you said that complimented also that I seen recently, but I'll have to find it and do some research on it. But it was talking about how Esau wants with these cars. But I think they said that the goal was set by like 2027 to have most cars. They're like they surveil the driver, the passenger, and even record the audio within the vehicle. So as another form of surveillance, gathering intel. As the flock is like more external to that type of thought, but that's what had me thinking of, because why wouldn't that be? Well, I'm not gonna say that because I haven't done any research on it, so it's not a fact. But it makes sense, as it could possibly be connected, but I have to come back with some solid information on it. But for why do you want to surveil what's going on in my car? Why do you want to surveil me? Why do you want to know who my passenger is? Why do you want to know what we're talking about? You know what I'm saying? Why does that matter? Well, what happened to freedom of speech? What happened to privacy? Right? So the flock is just a more external thought to that, to that experiment in a sense. But
Now, can
uh,
we grab our
you got it, brother. I'm looking for it now.
can somebody grab Isaiah chapter 29 verse 21? But Shah,
Con,
because this ain't the like there's a squeeze being brought unto us prophets and us teachers, um because surveillance is ramping up. The rhetoric behind the things that we preach is getting more serious, to where like certain talking points that we preach is now being labeled as terrorism, to the government, you know and we can grab this precept.
Con, this is Isaiah 29, verse 21. And do you want me to start at verse 20?
Khan Babu Shah.
Con, verse 20 says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all
Mhm.
who watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate,
Mhm.
and turn aside the just for a thing of naught."
So it says, that that make a man an offender for a word. That's what Esau is about to do. Well, really, in a small case, that's already a thing. That's why you have um, anti-Semitism, to where you can't say certain things about these small hats. And if you do You know, brothers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's like, you can get like criminalized for that at this point. But it is demonized. It is to where, you can get your videos shut down. You can be silenced from the internet, you know. Is that the case, brothers, that there's no criminalization for anti-Semitism at the moment?
Somebody, I remember a lady on the internet talking about if you are anti-Shem, we will put your face on the internet. We will, basically they're gonna cause your life to be hell. For lack of a
Okay.
better word. They went into more detail, but yeah, nothing like official where you could get locked up just
Okay.
yet.
Con. But it just shows that there is consequences behind it to where like the brother said, like putting your face on the internet and stuff that we deal with, our videos getting shut down. That's us being made an offender for a word, which is going against the Constitution, because we're supposed to have free speech, right? We're supposed to be able to criticize who we want, say the things that we want freely underneath this U.S. Constitution. But it's showing you that Esau is he's throwing the Constitution out the front door. you know. And it said what? That make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reprove it in the gate. How do we reprove in the gate? That's us on the highways, you know. And it says that there's a snare being laid for them that reprove in the gate, a trap. And these cameras is going to be a part of that, you know.
Yes.
And then this is all going, all this policing, this silencing that Esau is trying to do of the prophets. What it's all going to lead to is Amos 8 and 11, the famine of the word, because Esau wants to take us off the corners, stop us from preaching. Esau wants to get us from off the internet to stop this truth from going out, you know.
You can't stop it.
And Esau's is trying to accomplish a lot of things at the same time, because not only is it going to target us prophets and get this truth, stop this truth from going out, but it's also just tightening that control that Esau is trying to have, So he's knocking out a lot of birds with one stone, so to speak.
Yeah, but I mean, even with that main point that you made, was the side scene of the prophets is because, all what you said connects. Esau Edom's agenda, the NWO agenda, the prophets have been given that through the spirit of Hashem al Shai to reveal. Like I said, Isaiah 47. That he will lift up the skirt, he will uncover the thigh. The Most High is going to show via through his prophets and through his prophecies that this is what this devil's trying to do. So that's so in like like the elder speaks about being a counterfighter. Esau is he's trying to counter the prophecies. Oh shit, they how they know
Mhm.
how they can reveal this information, which is through the spirit. So this is why they want to shut it down, demonize it. Oh, it's hate speech. It's propaganda. That's that. But really it's the truth. And this is really breaking their ass down like molecules, man. To the point where it's like you gotta shut this word down. You
Yeah.
have to, even if it takes brute force, I gotta shut this down. They're doing too much.
Hey, I got a precept for you, brother. This is Second Ezra 16 and verse 17. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord."
Yeah, so they're gonna want to get hey, this is why you have, I'll give it back to you, brother. I didn't want to, go too deep into this, but that precept is beautiful concerning the point is what it being a great insurrection is because what's one way that they're doing it to demonize the prophets is they have these false flag attacks, these false flag situations to where they have someone that's so-called connected to the Hebrew Israelite community and he's doing some type of bogus terroristic act that has nothing to do with what we teach or what we believe. But they say, oh, well, he was listening to a Hebrew Israelite video before he did.
I
You're
I
like,
never forget that, bro. That shit was crazy.
that's not what we preach. That's not how we operate. It's just that we speak the truth, and it's so it sticks so deep in the Esau that he has to find a way to like let's make the world hate these niggas just the way we hate these niggas.
Hmm.
You know, and this is why there will be a great insurrection because eventually you will have, and on top of that, the same things that we teach out of the scriptures saying that Babylon's gonna fall, all these things are gonna happen. Most of the world don't believe it, especially our people. They don't believe it anyway. So when Esau puts that emphasis, which Esau is the power source right now, what do you think is going to follow suit? Everybody's going to be looking at the Hebrew Israelites like, man, f these dudes, man. Who is they? Who is that God they talking about? What is this? You know, what are they? You know, and they're going to be right in suit with Esau. You know, so everything's going to play out how it's supposed to play. There will be an insurrection upon the men of the Lord, man. You know, those that hold tight until the end. But this is part of the walk. But you got it, brother. Yeah,
Kind of. We could read on in the article.
and
Sure.
yeah, can you go ahead?
It says training materials and tours. Yeah. Training and materials and tours of the site emphasize its mock city blocks wired with cameras, license plates, readers. Well, yeah, license plate readers and real-time crime center feeds, giving officers a controlled environment to practice using AI-driven tools to track movement, monitor protests, dang, and coordinate responses. Yes.
Kind of. Let's read this. Let's read this one as well.
Con. Yeah, a 2025 mapping project estimated that Atlanta now has 124 surveillance cameras for every 1,000 residents, which is higher than any city in the world outside of a handful of China.
Hey, the prophets told the world, man, this is coming here to America. Everybody talking about, man, everybody talk about how free the U.S. is, how much liberty you have in the U.S. That's a conversation point I always hear where we'll talk like people acknowledge the stuff that Trump is doing, that he wilding. People acknowledge that the U.S. are warmongers, all these different things. But then they say, well, at least I don't stay in these other countries. At least I stay here because we got liberty. We have the Constitution. We have these different things. Man, all that stuff about to get shut down. This is about to become um, communist Russia.
Dang.
But it it says that these cameras, this surveillance is second only to places in China. And
Mm.
China is the benchmark for what people talk about of a totalitarian state. They put all these evil buzzwords on it. Well, the US is starting to match up to it. And it's only gonna get worse, you know?
Gone.
Dang.
And then it says, in recent years, the network has used artificial intelligence to flag suspicious vehicles and people movements in real time.
Yeah. And what read that last sentence, Babu Shah.
Gone. Even when no suspected crime has been committed.
Even when no suspected crime has been committed. So you can say, oh, this vehicle, this vehicle commutes in a high crime area pretty often. Let's flag that vehicle because it might be up to something. Oh, this person travels to this place that we've seen this happening before. Let's flag them for something. Or they wear a certain thing that we notice that other people who wear commit crimes. He might be a criminal, and eventually that's going to be used to imprison people or arrest people before they've even done anything.
Um,
It's going to get even worse once that MOTB comes because the MOTB is going to be something that Esau going to be tracking your thoughts. So if you think something before you even do it, Esau going to be like, oh, we got to get him.
It's
This is, it's like you was about to say something?
Yeah, I was about to say that actually reminds me of that book 1984 by George Orwell. It's like they had thought police. basically, if you thought anything or like they felt as if you were just slightly off, they're gonna track you. They're gonna look at you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You have to be completely in line and obeying the powers that be, the government.
Huh?
As soon
God.
as you said anything that was off from they conditioning that they put you under, you was a problem. You had to get shut down. They was torturing people for that, for
Mhm.
speaking things,
Mhm.
you know? So hey, and that so we gonna leave this article in the description box. Lord willing, I remember to do that. Because we do have to shut it down for time's sake. But there is some good things in this article. It gets more into the flock cameras. It gets more into the deforestation. But just to make the point, like we're talking about, Esau is going to be criminalizing and punishing people for the things that they speak, and that's remember, that's going to come toward us who are in this truth, heavily. That's why the scriptures call us the hour of temptation. Let's grab that, in Revelation chapter 2, verse 10,
I
before
got
we
you.
close it.
So the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 10, it says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
Mhm.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried."
So before you read on, it says, "Fear none of those things, but thou shalt suffer." So each and every one of us are going to suffer. Period. That's what Yahweh Shai is saying here. That's red letter. Our Lord is telling us, do not fear any of the things you're about to go through. Then it says, what? Behold, the devil will cast some of you into prison. So that may be in some of our lots that we have to be in prison for this word we teach. Let's read on.
Right. It says, "And that ye may be tried,
Hmm.
shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou not Sarkis, not be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life."
It says that we may be tried. So this is a testing process that the Lord is putting us through. Because, like, remember, what does it say in 2 Corinthians chapter 13? The Lord ain't gonna put us through anything that we can't bear.
Yeah.
So if the Lord, keep that in mind, whatever we go through, if the Lord has put us in that situation, it's because the Lord knows that we can get through that situation. We have the capability to do that. So it's a trying, it's a testing of what? Our faith. And it says that we're going to receive that tribulation 10 days. It's not a literal 10 days. It's representative of a period of time. Who knows how long we're going to be in prison or going through the tribulations we're going through. It could be a week. It could be a couple weeks. It could be a month. It could be a couple days. We don't know. But what
Exactly.
we do know is that however long it is and whatever lot that the Lord has us to go through is going to be tested if we're really down for this truth. But what does it say? If we keep our faith unto death, the Lord will give us a crown of life. That's why it says in what Sirach, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
Yeah.
So Esau is setting up a large web of control, surveillance, and what's going to come behind it is what? Punishment and imprisonment and you know uh uh, uh policing that's going to come with it.
Yeah.
And we have to keep that in mind and understand that our faith has to be strong so that we can make it through these things,
Yeah.
and the elect will make it through these things. And if
Yeah.
we believe ourselves, we call ourselves the hopeful elect, right? If we believe ourselves to be the elect, then we believe we can make it through these things. That's the mindset we have to have. I whatever Esau throw at me, man, I can make it through. That's the mindset the elect have to have. But that's all I want to say.
Because just add on to that and close it out is like the brother was saying, it's going to be like a get down and lay down type of situation that Esau is going to present. You know what I'm saying? And what you had me thinking of as you were speaking is that Sirach 2 and 10, where it says speaks about name whoever trusted in the Lord was confounded. You have all these different myriad of situations of different believers in Yahweh Shem Yahushua that were willing to die. They were willing to say, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Concerning what the heathen want to lay down on us, their authority. Do what you got to do, because I ain't leaving the Lord. You know what I'm saying? The prophet Daniel. You know what I'm saying? The one with the 7 sons. You saying you had the apostle Paul who say, they were more willing to die for the sake of the Lord's name's sake. All right, amongst many other situations. So that's Esau is he's gonna present an ultimatum. At the end of the day, like the apostles always speak on heavily, especially as of late, is we have to make sure that that's the mindset that we acquire to have. We want to have that mindset,
Huh.
but it takes a build up of situations too. But that's the mindset that we want to have because that's what we're coming into, and it's getting very, very, very hectic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that.
And just to back you up real fast, in that same chapter in Sirach chapter 2, it talks about how those who it talks about those who are faint-hearted, those who don't keep the faith. The Lord ain't going to defend them. The Lord ain't going to deal with them. It says, "Woe unto them that are faint-hearted. Woe unto them that." It doesn't say that this verbatim, but who make haste in time of trouble. Like the Lord is going to be nigh unto those who keep the faith, who continue to call upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, even when things get tough. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. We have to remember that. So even in the face of death, that's going to be the ultimate test of a lot of our faith. That even in the face of death, that we hold strong, and we have to understand this work that we're doing right now is punishable by death. Esau watching us. Esau know who doing these videos, who out on the highways. So our life is in the balance right now, you know. And if we gonna continue to do this, then continue when we face to face with it.
Right.
But that's all. Did any brothers have any points before we close out? All
Uh,
right, all right, kind. So, hey, with that being said, once again, I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachar It's like we want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Rachar I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and a salutation unto the hopeful elect. Hey, shalom.
so,
Well,